this argument right here is where the big disconnect between these two is. Ziz says, I didn't get any regals. Jonathan goes, that's weird. I got a load of regals in the campaign. Ziz goes, I only dropped 3 for the whole campaign. Jonathan, oh, well, we're not just talking about drops, we're talking about utilizing the crafting system. Like, so I disenchant and I got a lot of regals. Ziz goes, yeah, but I stopped doing that because the crafting system is so dog shit that there's no point in regaling stuff. So I just didn't do it. And this is why Jonathan is pissed off, because what Ziz is saying is totally true. But what he's saying is, I don't get enough regals in the campaign. When actually that's not what he's saying. What he's trying, Zizarin is trying to say is, the crafting system's so poor that I don't even want to use your disenchanting system to get the crafting materials. But the question Jonathan got asked was, I don't get enough regals, why is that? So then Jonathan kind of has to be a bit combative and be like, what are you talking about? We definitely do get enough regals. And then we find out kind of the real question is, yeah, I could get more regals, Jonathan, but I don't want to because your crafting system is shit. So then Jonathan's mind goes, well, why didn't you just ask me that question? Hey, Jonathan, I don't even feel like disenchanting stuff because your crafting system's awful. What do you think about that? But instead we get the question, Jonathan, I'm getting no regals. What are you going to do about it? And he's like, hold on a minute. Shit, we have a regal problem? After a bit of discussion, we figure out, no, we actually don't have a regal problem at all. So that's why, like, this whole dev blog is a bit confusing at times, because the question that's getting put at Jonathan is not really the question. And I think Jonathan's getting a bit kind of irritated about, okay, man, if you want to talk about the shit crafting system, just ask me, but don't hide the question away in kind of some like veiled jab, like, because that's kind of what it is, right?
Right. Well, I can't say much as to that, but like, that is the reason you don't have regals if you're...
See, now it comes across that Jonathan's a dick. Jonathan looks smug now. Jonathan looks like, well, that's why you don't have any regals. And then people are going to think, wow, bloody hell, Ziz only just tried to ask a question and Jonathan shut him down. When actually, Jonathan has correctly answered the question. That's it. Jonathan was asked, bro, I don't have many regals. I only got like 4 in the campaign. What's up with that? Jonathan goes, well, you didn't disenchant any items, so that's why you don't have any regals, bro. And then obviously everybody's going to think that's really big tension, but it's not. It's just a really poorly worded question, I guess. The question just needed to be, I know I could have got a lot more regals, man, but I just didn't want to use them because the crafting system is hot dog shit. What are you going to do about it?
If you know, like, that is where, like, the primary source of regals through the campaign would be disenchanting.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that isn't to say that gambling isn't better. Maybe it is, but
right.
you know, like that it does explain that particular one currency item at least.
It's also quite a few alchemies and stuff as well.
Yeah, alchemies are kind of not really intended to be that common anymore because the intended way to go through to rare is more via regaling. So like alchemies are like relative, like that alchemies are the kind of like, oh awesome, I got an alchemy. That's like a kind
I just think Jonathan's got his back up. I don't think he's meaning to be this hostile. He's just probably had a really, really, really stressful period. He's had a really stressful period. And he's like, right, we've got 2 hours. I need to get enough information out of this. And again, he's like looking at his piece of paper, things I've got to deal with today. Right, Ziz is asking me a question. Shit, Ziz says there's not enough regals. Mark, is there enough regals? Have we got enough regals? He's like, what? Yeah, well, we both got enough regals. Ziz, what makes you think you didn't get enough regals? Well, your crafting system's absolutely hot dog shit, so I haven't been using the things in the game to give me regals. And then they're like, oh shit, scratch it off the list. He's not actually asking about regals. He's asking about the crafting system. That's why you don't have any regals, bro. Do you want to talk about the crafting system? So I think it just comes across as like the kind of antagonistic, and that he's like, I feel like it looks like he's blowing people off, but I don't think he is.
That's the uncommon thing that you do occasionally, not the like kind of common workaday crafting that you're doing all the time. So like, yeah, it should be that the regals are the primary source of crafted rares. In that regard.
Well, the good benefit here is we have so many players right now that we can just get some data and get some analytics very, very quickly about what this actually is.
Yeah.
And you might find that it's...
Yes, so I'm not just saying Ziz wants to complain. I think he's trying to voice... In fairness to Ziz, I think he's trying to voice the community feedback. But yeah, exactly. They're talking past each other and trying to get to... Jonathan's trying to figure out what the damn question is, and Ziz is probably thinking, is he even listening to me? Because Ziz will probably sit there and think, man, he didn't ask anything about the regals, about the crafting there. He just palmed me off and said that there is enough regals in the game. I think Jonathan just wants to know the question and answer, and like there's just a bit of, misinterpretation.
Just very...
Because if you were going into game development and you were to go to your boss, this is how I see it. If I was to go to the boss, I would have to say this: hi, after looking at data, players are just not getting enough regal orbs out of the gate. There's just nobody's got regal orbs. Then he would probably say, oh shit, we need to definitely buff the drop rate and the disenchant rate, because if people are not getting enough regals with these systems, they're not good enough. You couldn't go to the boss and be like, we ain't getting enough regals because your crafting system's fucking shit, so give us more regals. Because that doesn't actually make any sense. You'd be like, what are you talking about? What is the question, bro? So that's why you can see that, like, friction.
sensitive to, there's always just going to be a portion of unlucky players and a portion of lucky players. Like, I definitely know that there's a lot of swinginess, of course, and that can happen. And again, that it might just be that. And I know you've probably played more than most, so arguably you should have the you should have the most amount of data from a purely anecdotal perspective. So, you probably have the best average.
A lot of this, I don't even know what we're talking about, to be honest. Like, I feel like Jonathan's trying to fix the game, and we're kind of just saying things that, saying like, oh, some people get lucky, some people get like this. This isn't the reason why PoE 2 is air quotes bad. It's not because, you know what I mean? Like, a lot of it's just waffle, and I think Jonathan's just like, fucking hell, can we get on with it, mate?
Average going on, the most accurate average, I should say. But that being said, like, we have the capacity to look into this very quickly, and we can just do so probably even today and figure out what's going on and whether or not it meets our expectations.
So the next thing I want to ask you about is...
I wonder what the comments say. Want to appreciate Jonathan's is for speaking plainly. Mark is so vital for the flow. I'd much rather see devs been obvious. As for anyone that's ever called you a shill for GGG, I hope they watch this interview. I mean, to be honest, this interview doesn't mean you're not a shill. This interview is a very safe interview to do. They're not going to blacklist you for this interview. It's very clear that the community are upset, and Ziz has just been a bit of a voice for it. It's not like he's really stuck his neck out on the line here. Let's be honest. I don't think Jonathan is digging his own grave, to be honest. I think that comment there, that's all you really need to know. Jonathan said, if players are unhappy, we'll change things until they're happy. I just think people like Mark's personality, so they're just assuming everything he's saying is correct, when a lot of the things Jonathan is saying is totally spot on. It's maybe just coming across in a very different way. You know what I mean? Like, people will probably, again, I know I keep coming back to it, people will come back to that Regal question and be like, wow, Jonathan looks really moody. Jonathan ignored that question. What a dick. Well, he didn't. He just wanted to find out what the actual question was. And in the end of it, he was like, oh, never mind. We don't have a Regal problem then. We have a crafting problem. Okay, next. Like, and I just, yeah, people have different personalities and people have different ways of answering things. Like
The ailment thresholds, you